$6,808.42 in March to April's balance is now $17,809.24. It's a 158.8% increase. And that may increase exponentially over the next few months. Later in our meeting today, we'll be introducing changes to our ordinance to comply with the State Bill 998 and Government Code 116900 Water Shutoff Protection Act, which will extend the amount of time a customer has before their water is shut off. So it went from about 15 days to 60 days. So hopefully we don't see a loss in revenue, we just see a delay in the receipt of that revenue. So, but at this time, we don't know how that's going to affect us also. So, let's see, as we talked about street funds. Currently, there are some projects in the works that will be using some of these funds. San Joaquin Street between, is it 4th and 33?
3rd and 33.
33. So they'll be getting, hopefully that will be starting in the near future in the warm weather. I think we've arrived. So, Nell, did you want to make any comments?
I apologize. I'm not sure. I'm assuming you covered everything that you need to cover.
Yes.
So far. We are putting together, working on the budget right now. And as I've told council, I'm really not completely sure exactly how we're going to end up in the year, however, with the information that was provided. And with a little bit of adjusting, I think we'll do okay, even without the remainder of the sales tax. We haven't really been hit on anything else. Property tax came in, there were a few that probably are a little delinquent. But it's going to take us a good year to see and understand the cycle of those two blocks. And my direction is to staff is that one way is if we have a position that's vacated, unless it's absolutely necessary, we will not fill. Regardless of whether someone is a general fund department or let's say someone is somewhat in public works and I don't know, code enforcement, it's all going to boil down to, it's going to affect the general fund. It just does the way that this is set up. But we'll tighten our belts and we'll make it through to hopefully keep basically the city and staff and all intact. We don't know what this year's going to bring. I know there's a big push with the California cities and not so much counties are doing it too, but the cities to let the governor know that we need some of the stimulus money that he has received. Oh, okay, sorry. I was on a National League call yesterday with Washington, D.C., and Governor Abbott from Texas, he set kind of a good example in that the funds that were sent to Texas have already been distributed to several of the large cities and some of the small cities too. So it's nice to know that it sounds like that state is trying to do the right thing. We're not asking for anything other than to hopefully be made whole. Our water fund is, had you gone over that with them, and I apologize, where we are with the water fund. Thank goodness the water fund is doing okay right now, but we're being hit by the state of California. For the San Luis project, we're having to pay more in maintenance for the canal. We have 2 layers we have to deal with in the canal, and their their maintenance costs went up twofold. Which really took us by surprise. It
was actually the San Luis
Reservoir, yes. But they're the ones that actually maintain, they work with the Bureau of Reclamation, but San Luis is the state. So we have to pay fees on both sides. He did Ron, I spoke to him today, and he's accounting for that. He's trying to keep his numbers within that of this year, this current year, but his costs are going up as well. So he did some rearranging, and he said, Mel, my costs are just going to go up. So that's $90,000 extra that we definitely were not anticipating. But again, I think we'll be okay. We just have to be very select in what we fund. Council or the staff know very well that general fund has been a challenge this whole year and actually part of last year. And that we'll get what we need, but we don't always get what we want. And this staff has been really, really good about that. So that's about all I have to say. I just appreciate the numbers that, and working with Dawn over the past couple of days to get the information that we needed. And did you go over the areas where we're seeing numbers in the red?
No, I haven't gotten that.
Okay.
To
All right,
that.
well,
started
I'm
page
going to give
3.
it to you, and I'll
I
just
like
sit
the
quietly
blue
over here.
numbers. Blue numbers make me happy. We are actually on
Page 3.
page 3 for the debt funds. The debt funds that we have, the first one you'll see is the PFA, which is the Public Financing Authority. This is our bond, and it is paid partially by the water fund, and the other part of it is the RDA portion. Their portion will be paid in full by 2026. The rest will go on to 2036, I think is the end date. That fund is basically what comes in goes out, because it's just transfers between the funds. Our RDA, we're in the process of winding down. So you see revenues that come in, that's property tax that goes to pay our bond fees, and it still has a little bit of an administrative portion of that it pays. Pays our agent fees, our disclosure fees, and then part of payroll. So the next thing you'll see is our CIP program income. This is our grants. We have, the first one is our operating authority. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sticking up for Alex right at the moment. Tell him what CIP stands for.
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
That is,
Capital improvement?
thank you. I was like, it's known as two different things in accounting. One is capital improvements and the other one is construction in progress.
If I may, just for explanation, Alex, in a year, in a good year, there may be a project, or maybe one of the departments needed a new vehicle, a dump truck or something, and they know they can't handle it in 1 year. They'll put money aside. It's called the 700 account at the end of the budget, and they will save over the next 3 years or whatever, and it goes into basically a bank. It goes into their, like your savings account, and it's by department or by fund. And at the end of 3 years, if it was $25,000 for 3 years, it'd be $75,000, but it would take council approval to withdraw those funds to purchase whatever they wanted to purchase. So that's what it is. Does that help?
Okay, let's see. As I said, the City of Avenal Operating Authority, that is our joint powers authority with the hospital district. And a portion of Melissa's, Angie's, and myself, our payroll is paid by the district. And so this fund, the revenues coming in is the money that the hospital district repays us for our expenses, as well as the rent that we receive from the ambulance company. Yes, ma'am.
Just a side note, please.
Yes.
For probably both of you, Pablo, this is your second year on budget, right? Okay. The hospital district, there was and you may have known Wanda Brown. Ken Brown was on the board of the hospital district for years. When Ken passed away, Wanda took over operations. She wanted to retire. She was in her 80s, and she wasn't quite sure how to do it because the hospital district has downsized so much. They don't offer services, any type of hospital services at all. but the district itself is still intact, it still must be a present, okay. They were down board members as well for the hospital district. It's hard to get people to run for that office. So Wanda approached the city and wanted to know if the city might be interested in taking over the operations of the hospital district, that being the building, which our PD has a lease with them. And so we basically took it over with council approval of the hospital district. And by action taken, I'm the administrator of a little bitty district. She is the treasurer, and Angie is the secretary. And there are only 2 members. If somebody else basically wants to buy in to this authority, they can, and they then would be eligible for a membership. So at that time, there might be 3, but right now there's hospital district, city of Avenal, and they have to meet at least once a year. But with the hospital district is still intact, it's active, and that hopefully that explains what that's all about. That was a little bit of a trial to get that up and going.
And they receive property tax
Very small.
monies also. It's also run in order to provide hospital records in case they are subpoenaed or requested by patients. There is also, it's still receiving about $10 a month in past revenue that's been due to their accounts receivable. So it makes minimal in that regard, but it does still receive the property tax. So it keeps the district intact.
Plus, they're still the owner of the 5-acre property, which includes the hospital facility, so to speak. We just have taken over the east wing, few patient rooms.
And almost the west wing. So it shows a negative balance, and that's because the hospital district reimburses the city for payroll and makes it basically a whole again. Our capital improvement funds, that's what we were just speaking about. That is our fund for capital improvements, the savings account to be used. The next page and a half, actually the next 2.5 pages are all of our grant funds. You'll see program income. There's 3 program income funds. There's one for, it says just program income, but it's our CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grants.
It's housing related grants, however, and I sent a bunch of information to you. I don't know if you received it. I worked on it as long as I could. It's okay. See, the Calhoun home and a certain part of CDBG is for housing related home programs. CDBG is specifically, you could potentially purchase a newer home, but it's also for rehab, to rehab homes that are there. And the loans are by deferred loan. Okay. So the only time we would see any of those funds, and I think I provided a bit of an explanation, we would receive those funds if someone decided to pay the home off, or let's say a loved one passed away and the home is in their name. Then before the house could sell, that loan, because it's recorded, that loan has to be paid. That becomes a pool of program income, and there are guidelines, but it can be used for certain things within the guidelines. So that's where it is. It's from these programs, and they come into one pool of money, and there you go. But they're mostly housing related grants.
Yeah, so the program income, those are in the blue. The other funds, some are in the blue, some are in the red, and that's just because of the type of grant that it is. A lot of our grants require that you spend the money first, and then they turn around and reimburse us. So the ones that are in the red, that is exactly what type of fund that they are in. They are. Our wonderful grant fund, we've received funds over the past several years, past 4 years, and that's gone to provide Yes, the tech center, the fitness court, and other, I can't even think of what else, Fernando. Yeah,
Classes.
right.
Right, the tech center, right, that's what.
Yes. Right. Mhm. So those are funds that they've been using, and Tony, is part of that being used for the community center as well?
No, there's not, we submitted a grant for that.
And that was part of the yearly
Yeah,
grant
yeah.
request.
So that's why I said we got the fitness for.
Right, and some of the funds that you'll see, we have our water transmission fund. The home, do you know what home stands for?
Housing, no, I don't. I don't.
There's the federal version of it, and then there's the California version of the home grants. And those are actually come through the state, and the state gives us the money. So there's also the HRPP, which is the housing-related parks.
Grant. And it's
Grant.
based on the number of units that were built or developed in the previous year.
Right.
Previous years.
I believe Fernando wants to interject. He's asking if I take him off the list.
He's got his hand up.
I don't know if that's.
Sure.
Yeah, he would be sitting here if
Yeah,
he
I
was here.
know. He's here, right here.
I got, I'll let him know when speak. Yeah, I need him. I think it's a phone number. This one. Oh, gosh. Is there 633?
Yes, he's a 633.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Turn on the audio. I heard it right now.
Can everyone hear me?
Go, Fernando.
Hi there. I can't hear everyone, but I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello?
That's all I know. And that's how it's basically advertised, home program, first time home buyer.
Fernando, come up
Can you
with
hear
an
me?
explanation about if we can get him on.
Hello?
He's not one of the iPad ones.
Let's go ahead and proceed and then
Okay.
it comes on and.
Let's see, some of the other grants, we have our water transmission line grant, which is a planning grant to replace the water, part of the water transmission line. The one that says CWSRF, that's the California, it should be actually CSWRF.
It's Prop 1, it's Prop 1 funds, there's clean water and water quality. One is for water, one is for wastewater. This is for the wastewater portion. And the planning is, I believe, completed, and the engineer's working on it, and Mr. Enrique. We'll be making a submission, and hopefully if there are funds available at the state to replace our sewer lines in town and some upgrades that we needed. We have some of the old lines are the originals from the 20s and 30s, or the late 20s and 30s, so there's some areas that need to be replaced. Also, through a revolving fund, it's basically the same, how do I say it? We also received grants for a solar project that will energy to run our wastewater treatment plant, which will really be nice, and that has been awarded, hopefully construction starts soon. So we see a nice savings there, but those are from those grants. They're revolving fund loans to the state.
And then we have two other grants. We have a PetSmart grant fund, which is actually wound down. it provided the animal shelter with an animal shelter technician. And then we had the tree partnership grant where we partnered with the Historical Society to plant how many trees? 200.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Fernando.
There we go.
Loud and clear.
Where's your face? We don't see your face.
You know what? I'm just on the phone right now. I'm setting up my laptop.
That's okay, we're just giving you that.
But I wanted to make sure that you knew I was on the phone. So if there's any questions about the grants, I heard some questions about the home program. So happy to answer any of those.
Is there any questions for Fernando as far as the home grants? No. There's no questions so far, Fernando.
All righty.
Thank you.
I just wanted to back up a little bit. On the solar grants, you'll see two grants. One was the planning grant, which is Fund 37, and then there's the actual project, and that's Fund 37.1. And in the current year, we did not have budgeted numbers, so it shows a zero budget, but there is some activity going on in that fund.
And the solar project is 1.8 million. And there was, I believe, 4.8 million that was actually granted for a project. So hopefully we'll be able to utilize the remaining funds for upgrades and improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. So, and it can't be used anywhere else. It has to be used for wastewater purposes.
Is there any questions?
Questions, comments as far as the budget? Oh. Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Dawn.
You're welcome. And Alex, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to give me a call at City Hall.
It was a little hard to read, but we got it. 407? No, it's fine. I'm sorry I couldn't get to the last, but those were all good questions. So I'll have to take in.
Do you have the official time?
We good?
5:10. Okay, so good timing. Good timing.
Who has the lapel mics? Lapel,
Just two.
Well, no, he has them too.
okay.
I'll just interject real quick. So last meeting, I think everything video-wise was fine, just we had some audio issues. So when you get to the main portion of the meeting, please speak into the mic, like right on it. Yeah, because we're already muffled with the mask. And these microphones don't pick up the direct sound. So this is acting like a filter already. So if you guys are on the mic, just speak right into it, like you were singing. You guys should be fine. It should be right here at the chest, and just speak at a normal level. It should pick up just right.
Did you explain to us more about just up here? Okay, very good.
They're not on yet.
Okay. Okay. So I was almost on time until I couldn't find my keys. And I had gone into Andy's office to pick up some pink paper to make copies. Well, Yolanda, thank goodness. She goes, Mel, are these the keys that were in your door? Gosh, I got my purse out, my little satchel, and oh my gosh.
I've started leaving my office keys in my door, in
Angie
the
does
locks.
that too. I do it once in a while, but it would probably throw me for a loop, so I just,
So I don't leave them on my desk, bury them.
I was gonna call you. Can you forgive me when you're done? Please. Oh,
Well, I had to do a twofer. I had to call Angie to get into my office. I had to call Fernando to get into the building when I left my keys on my desk. So
Oh, my goodness. Is Mr. Farley's nameplate here? Angie?
Here he is, right here.
And his chair?
But he doesn't have.
I guess we can scoot.
I would think we could scoot down because there's a lot bigger space there.
Or you can sit up there. Yes. There we go. Hello.
Let me move all of my important papers.
The announcement for the action of last week during closed session when please be done. Before we go into closed session again. Okay. Very good. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
You need Dawn's mic. That'll be a first.
Okay, I see 5:15 on the monitor. Are we good? Okay, so we're going to call this meeting to order. And if you'll stand with me, please, so that we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So welcome everyone who has joined us to our city council meeting. Besides Fernando, who else is on the phone? Is there someone else?
I see Aaron LeBlue. Sheila Verdugo.
On phone, on the phone?
Yes.
Via phone?
There's only one.
Okay,
Joseph is getting on.
okay, very
Okay.
good.
I'm going to do roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Hernandez,
Here.
Councilman Ramirez,
Here.
Mayor Ovalle,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Willie,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado.
Here. Okay, we're all present. Okay, if you'll read that paragraph, please.
Government Code Section 54952.3, the members of the City Council successor agency are entitled to receive a total of $300 per month because of being elected to the City Council. They receive no other compensation for sitting as a member of the successor agency.
Thank you. Okay, and before going to closed session, I'd like to make the announcement that during the closed session of 4/30/2020, there was action taken that Resolution 2020-22 was approved, was an MOU between the Avenal State Prison, the Wheatland Incorporated, and the city. That was the only action taken last meeting during closed session. So at this time, we will be going into closed session. So everyone who's online will be muted, and we'll rejoin you after the meeting of this.
Hey, Joseph, can you do a mic check so we can see if we can hear you? Or hear if we can hear you?
Sorry about that. I'm here.
Gonna toss you into the room.
Okay, perfect.
Can you do a quick little toss on yourself and Joseph Berry into the breakout room? I mean, next time you have to log in. I'm gonna toss both of you, both of the systems, and then you pick out whichever one's not the right one. I know it's because it has both your names. There you go.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, welcome back to the regular city council meeting, and I'd like to announce that there was no action taken during the closed session. So we'll continue with item number 5, which is consent calendar. And A is consider City of Avenal successor agency approval of minutes for April 9th, 2020, April 30th, 2020. And also the consider financial statements and warrants for March and April. Is there any questions, comments, or changes? Okay. If not, we need a motion to approve consent calendar.
I move we approve the consent calendar.
I will
First.
second it.
Okay, first and second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle.
Aye. Okay, 5-0. It's been approved. So we move on to item number 6, which is mayor and council member successor agency. Temps for consideration. Okay, A, consider scheduling a special closed session for labor negotiations.
Yes, Mayor,
Ma'am.
members of council, I would like to request council's consideration to schedule a time that's convenient, a date and time that's convenient for everyone. So we can meet in closed session to discuss labor negotiations. It is a title that we are, again, allowed to discuss in closed session.
How soon do we need to have this meeting?
It would be nice in the next week or so, or the next 2 weeks. would be
Okay.
fine. I-
So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
What I can do, if you'd like, I can look at dates and just provide some dates and see if we can come up with a date that might be good for everyone. And then normally, not everyone has their calendars available.
What day would work for you, Mr.? Any day? Mr. Ramirez?
I think
Huh?
these two are the most.
Thursdays?
If there's-
Thursday if possible, if not,
Okay.
I will adjust.
Cristiano?
We can also have it Thursday, next council meeting before, like a study session. If we don't agree on the dates before that.
To have a closed session prior to the council meeting? Oh. Which would be the
28.
28th.
So we are having the second,
Right
See.
now, do we have any items in? Do you have any items for the agenda?
okay.
We don't
So we
have
could
any.
just have it instead
So-
of it.
Yeah, so we could just have that study session
A closed
for,
session?
uh-huh,
Okay.
yes.
Would that
28th?
work?
Will work? Okay.
Is there a good time? That might work for everyone.
Well,
So maybe 5 o'clock? Or is that 5 o'clock on Thursday, the 20th?
Okay. All right, 5 is good?
what time will be council meeting?
It would just be, since we don't have any agenda items, so on the 28th, which would have been a normal meeting day, we would just have closed session.
On the 28th?
Would that be good at 5?
Mhm.
5 o'clock?
Okay, 5 is good?
So if we would need a motion to schedule, it would be a special closed session.
So move the special closed session on the 28th at 5 p.m.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Mr. Ramirez seconded.
Councilman Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle.
Aye. 5-0, it's been approved, so next Thursday, the 28th at 5 o'clock, study session.
Thank
Right.
you.
Very good. So we move on to item number 7, which is activity reports, special presentations, and committee reports. Public Works, are you online?
I am. Can you
Awesome.
hear me?
You're on the floor, Sion, loud and clear.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. a report this month. We're continuing to issue building permits for the re-roof, solar patios, new construction, and things like that. Pandaqual is still continuing their work on the Salindo Lido project. The construction on the clinic for Araya has started in April, and they are continuing to work. We found a little glitch in there, but we got that taken care of. And we're still working with the Avenal group for the development south of Corcoran and Kern. Still continuing some emails and correspondence with them, and hopefully we'll be issuing a grading permit soon. And we're still working with Wildan for our plan checks and inspections on our new construction. Code enforcement's been working on the property, vehicle, and weed abatements. They started with some verbal and phone calls on people, and then they did start writing letters to other property owners towards the end of April to get properties in areas clear of weeds. We did contact, which I think hopefully everybody has noticed, we contacted Caltrans, and they came over this week and started mowing along 33. Those are starting to get a little bit out of control also. They have been working on complaints with illegal businesses and being conducted within the city and online. And they continue to monitor the businesses downtown. They did work with them recently with the new opening guidelines, and they're making sure that everybody's still trying to do their social distancing rules. And they did maintain in April for the businesses that were deemed non-essential, that they were remaining closed. We're continuing to parks and landscape, working on all of our landscape areas, and we still have the playgrounds closed due to the COVID pandemic, but we do still have the one restroom open, which is normally open shortly after 7, and it is closed in the evenings. It's also open on the weekends with our on-call person that normally goes and opens up the parks and playgrounds and such, but they still go open that and close it at dusk. Animal control, they're still working with the rescues and Corcoran, and they're also following their social distancing guidelines when they have people come in the building. Public Works is still maintaining streets, and we will be hopefully Monday putting up banners for the high school graduates, as well as our flags and that for Memorial starting Monday. There's been a little bit of delay in the graduate banners, but hopefully they'll be here Monday, and we'll get on that. We did get the stop signs installed in the areas of concern of the public, and we have received good feedback from all of that from those people of concern and some other people as well. Water distribution, we continue to work with the engineer on the 18-inch pipeline feasibility study. There's always some kind of report that needs to be turned in with that. I think probably Fernando can elaborate more on what the continuing reporting is for that, but we're still working with them. And our wastewater collection, we have been seeing more calls. We did have 7 calls for sewer plugs. Only 2 of them are on our side. I think a lot of this is with people staying home. The 2 on our side were due to a grease buildup. So in those areas, we have started treating them with more of the enzyme that we've been using for the last few years, and to try and get that mitigated. But 5 of them were on customer side, and there again, I think it's because everybody's at home. And our vehicle equipment building maintenance, we just continue to maintain our city properties and do our reporting to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District as necessary. So, are there any questions?
Any questions for Scott? Okay, no questions, Scott. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so we move on to item number 2, which is Avenal Theater and Event Center Activity Report. Humberto? Any questions for Humberto? Well, we can. But any questions for Humberto? No? Okay. Humberto, thank you. All right, so we move on to item 3, which is Avenal Police Department Activity Report. Chief Stivers?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're loud and clear.
Very good. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Have a couple monthly reports before you. Didn't get a chance to do the meeting schedule to get the March report to you, but I just wanted to follow up on a couple items in that report before I move on to the brief one in April. Maybe I'll just cover both at the same time if you don't mind. So in March, we continued our investigation into the suspected gang members having possession of the sawed-off shotgun that we saw on social media. We recovered that sawed-off shotgun at an alternate address. As you recall, in February, the Central Valley Regional SWAT team served a few search warrants in our city looking for that firearm. We were able to find it a few weeks later. So it was a good job by Sergeant Rivera, who spearheaded that investigation. Unfortunately, we also investigated an attempted murder case where an adult son had choked out his mother almost to the point of unconsciousness on 3 different occasions. So the officers responded to that. Suspect had a long history of drug abuse, unfortunately, and we were able to take him into custody without incident. The Kings County Probation Department was very helpful in putting a hold on the suspect. In front of a gas station.
Chief froze. Oh, there we go.
There was a felony assault where another gentleman decided out of nowhere just started beating up a victim. Another felonious assault arrest was made there. And also in March, as we talked about before, Detective Smith had her off-highway vehicle meeting at the Avenal Theater, which was attended by about 25 riders. So we're happy to share the property owners' wishes along with the Bureau of Land Management wishes with the community as well. And obviously the big thing around the middle of March, COVID-19 hit, and about the end of March, we started introducing social distancing by the police department, but still maintaining our presence in town, which led to a kind of a slow month due to people pretty much complying with the shelter-in-place order. Had a few large party calls, but for the most part, the public wasn't out and about. So the officers spent a lot of their time conducting various premise checks of businesses. They were out monitoring businesses in the morning during the customers would go to line up, and at night when they were closed, to protect our property owners' interests. So we've been called upon too to do this. It's going all over the country now. Birthday parades, where patrol cars will assist community members in driving by, usually a young child's house, to help participate in the birthday party. So we've been doing quite a few of those. We participated in the Avenal High School or Avenal Elementary School teacher parade as well. And so we're out and about. We're open for business. We're just responding to where we need to be. But as we move deeper into the phases of opening up the state, I'm sure more people will be out and about. I would like to thank Scott from Public Works, always there for us, putting in those much needed stop signs over there in Foxborough. Hope these citizens up there enjoy those. They were greatly needed. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Questions for the chief? No, no questions, chief. Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Okay, so we will move on to the community development planning activity. Fernando, you're on.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. Just a quick update here about what we're up to in community development. The community center is pretty close to wrapping up its phase 1, which is really exciting. If you've driven by, pretty much the entire building is up, with the exception of the bottom area of the front side where we're going to be putting the stonework. And then the canopies over the windows are not up yet. And then we have a big stucco bump out that's going to go in the front of the building in the middle. That's contingent upon additional funding, which we're waiting on from the state. But other than that, we're really happy with the progress we've made. The paving contractor should be out next week to start working on the sidewalk around the building, as well as the paving, the asphalt paving for the parking lot. So that'll look a lot cleaner once the parking lot is in. We obviously are continuing to assist with COVID-19 related activities, working with code enforcement really closely, monitoring for price gouging and making sure that businesses are complying with the essential and non-essential businesses, which is starting to, the state of California is starting to expand the ability for business to reopen. So we're informing businesses as needed. And we are also implementing the small business loan program that the council approved at the last meeting. We have the application ready to be sent out. We're going to send it out by mail rather than in person, just so that because it is going to be a first come, first serve type of situation until the funds run out. We want to make sure everybody is given the application at the same time by the post office. That way we're not, given the appearance that, we're giving the applications to some businesses first over others. But yeah, we should have those applications out hopefully by tomorrow. It is a pretty laborious process to get the mailing labels and all those things in, but if not tomorrow, definitely by Monday. And then we are, as Scott mentioned, still working with the developer of the 120 lot subdivision, the Alvarado Group. They were supposed to be recording the final map this week, and I haven't heard any confirmation on that, but I'm going to check in with them again tomorrow and see if that's been completed so that we can finalize their grading permit. You can probably imagine that the census efforts have been basically put on hold. The Census Department and the county are still doing some outreach on a limited basis, but our outreach here as far as staff goes in Avenal has been put on hold until we can actually hold events and interact with people face to face. I am happy to report that our self-response rate in Avenal has climbed considerably, and we're close to that 50% mark as of the date of this report, which was, I believe, on Monday. So I think it's climbed a little bit higher than that since then. Let's see, if the Planning Commission met in May, and they were able to approve the CUP for the wonderful Community Wellness Center. If you're not aware, the wonderful preschool did close, and Wonderful decided to turn that into a wellness center for the community, where they would be offering health services, behavioral health, and just a bunch of resources for the community. And we're hoping that they'll be up and running here pretty soon. And then at the next City Council meeting, we'll have a presentation for you as far as the proposed changes to the RV and trailer parking ordinance that the Planning Commission has recommended to the Council to adopt. Hopefully the City Council likes what is being presented, and those can start being enforced sooner rather than later. And then, Scott mentioned the water transmission pipeline project. It's been tough getting any kind of answer from the state about any potential dates for the funding agreement for the construction side. We have the easements, both the permanent and the temporary construction easements, pretty close to being locked down with the property owners. Bureau of Land Management, who has a small parcel up there, requested additional cultural resources surveying on their parcel, which shouldn't be a problem. We have our environmental contractor out there already doing that additional buffer area as far as surveying goes. But all we're really waiting on is for the state to let us know that there's a contract waiting to be signed, and we would be good to go. And then the kids park that we received the grant for from Prop 68, we have a kickoff workshop with the state parks rep next week, and then we can start spending the funds to start, we can start issuing the RFQs and RFPs to start designing that park, which we will have a lot of community input on. And then we are looking at issuing the RFQ, request for qualifications, for our ATP project for engineering work here pretty soon. So hopefully that project gets up and running soon, hopefully by next week. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Fernando? No questions, Fernando. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Okay. Special presentation reports, there's none. So we're moving on to item number 6, which is public comment, announcements, and unscheduled appearances. Ms. Angie.
Any person may directly address the city council, any items on the agenda, any items on any other items of interest that is with matter subject jurisdiction of the city council, circuit agency. State law prohibits any member of the city council agency commenting on actions on matters not on the agenda. 3 minutes are allowed per person.
Are we set for public comment, Humberto?
Anthony or Humberto, it's Sheila and Anna. We would like to address the council. Hello?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
You can hear me? Okay, I can't see much. Okay. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update on what Anna and I have been working on. I know with all this COVID shelter in stuff, we have had to really rethink some of the things that we're doing for the community. One of those things are our summer Kid Spot program, which we did not want to leave undone in any way. I know we can't really have the program per se, but we have put a plan together to have basically an online Facebook kind of Kid Spot program. So I want to kind of run down what we've came up with so far and what we're working on. It's not all completely in place, but it will be by June 15th, which would be our opening day. So right now, what we're planning on doing is doing weekly themes. We have an 8-week program. So each week we will do a different theme, and we will put together a variety of the arts and crafts and videos and different things like that each week with the theme. So basically on our Monday, we're gonna have like a story time video with Miss Blanca, which is the principal at the Avenal Elementary School. We will have a Tuesday craft. Wednesday, we will have a non-cooking, make your own snack video, and Miss Tabby will be doing those videos, which is a former KidSpot staff member that's been with us for several years. Thursday, we had a craft for Thursday, but I believe we're going to change that up and get more people involved in the community. So we're thinking about doing a kids fit club. So we'll reach out to our Zumba instructor, karate instructor, the Fit to Succeed instructor, and see if they can maybe come up with some videos, kid-friendly, of course, to do some get to moving, keep their little bodies moving and their brains active. And then Friday, we'll do a safety video and a water day, water fun day. We'll keep kind of true to what we've done in the past over the summer anyway, only this will all be done online. So once we put our packets together, the parents will be doing a drive-through where parents can drive through the parking lot, basically what we do for our food distributions at this point, and parents can pick up the already weekly packet. So we'll have everything the kids need in these packets where they could take those home, and then we will have actual videos posted on our a KidSpot Facebook page that we would like to make. We're not sure if that's gonna work or just kind of continue with our community activities page and post there. Either way, we will definitely get those posted. So kids can actually go onto that page and they can, every day we'll have something for the kids to do on that page. So that's kind of where we're at as far as that. This way we don't have to totally cancel KidSpot. It's completely different than what we're normally used to, but we at least keep the kids engaged. And I would hate to go a whole summer without the kids seeing or talking or, being active with Miss Anna and her crew. Although we're not hiring any staff, we still have the old, our old staff from previous years that are definitely wanting to come back and be a part of this. So with that, I'm gonna let Anna kind of jump in there because she is the one that's actually at work right now. And she's able to reach out to some of these people that we're talking about. And she'll be reaching out to, like I said, the fire department, the APD, the Mindfulness Matters over in Hanford, and some different organizations to do these videos. Anna, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
You're loud and clear.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, like Sheila mentioned, we do have to close the program this year, and we are, I'm a little sad about it, but this is a way for us to be connected to the kids. And like Sheila stated also, I have been reaching out to previous organizations that did come out through the summer last year. And so I have Anna with Behavior Health who has committed to do every Friday mindfulness lessons with the kids. I reached out to 2 previous summer staff employees, and one seems pretty committed to do the crafting segment of our summer session. Another summer staff also committed to do the non-cooking snack days for the kids, and that would be on Wednesdays. I have reached out to our Zumba and fit instructors, and our Zumba instructor is excited to be doing this for the kids, so she's committed herself already. We will be reaching out to, I got in contact with Alicia Gomez. She is with the Safe Kids of Kings County, and she will be putting me in contact with somebody from the water to do a water safety segment for the Fridays. As Sheila mentioned as well, Ms. Blanca Rodriguez from the elementary school has committed to do Monday reading lessons. And I talked to Officer Smith, and we're just trying to figure something out. Every year, PD would come out and do a junior camp, explorer camp with the kids. If not, we went to the PD, and they showed us around the PD department. So we're trying to still find a way to have the kids still interact with our police department as well. We're still trying to figure out the schedule and stuff, but Humberto has volunteered to help do the recording of the videos, to help us with the recording. So he's techie, I'm not, so he'll be helping us with that. Does council have any questions or?
Questions for Anna or Sheila?
Sounds really good.
I guess there's no questions.
Okay. We
Great
just want
work.
to keep you
Thank
guys updated on the things that we are doing. Although we're not out in the community, we're still very active in what we are trying to do, and all of our outreach is still on the forefront of everything that we do. So,
Thank you very much.
okay. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Anna.
Bye.
Do you have someone else for public comment?
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Hi, this is Veronica Gary. Good evening. I just wanted to bring something to the mayor and council and city staff's attention. A few months back, I had brought to the council's attention the concern for congested parking areas and also the stop sign. And as the chief had mentioned, they did put up some stop signs, so thank you for that. I believe that it has helped a lot, but there is still a great concern over parking congestion. You know, in these housing areas, there's a number of adults living in each housing area, and some of these houses have about 7 cars each. So I do understand that there is no control over, you can't say you can't park in front of my house, but it does become, you know, a bit of an inconvenience when people have like 7 cars to, you know, a house in these these family housing areas, like where I live here, you know, on North A Avenue. So I was hoping that the council would consider possibly doing some type of study session, reaching out to the community, maybe having some type of committee to discuss maybe an option of having parking permits, something similar to maybe what like this, you know, other cities, you know, well, bigger cities do, where they only allow maybe four vehicles per home, and they have to pay, you know, the city for a parking permit to be able to park in certain areas. And I think that, you know, even with that, that could also, you know, bring in some sort of revenue. And with the money that the city gets from these parking permits, they can now actually use to put in new stop signs or maintain the streets or anything like that. But it is very, you know, it's an inconvenience. I wake up and sometimes I have all these cars, and when I have people, like my kids don't live with me, you know, and they come to visit, they actually have to park around the corner, you know, just to come home. I have elderly parents, and when they come to visit me, they have to actually walk, you know, from around the corner just to come to my house. And I really think that I'm not the only person, because I've seen it at my parents' home, who have lived at that home for, gosh, about 40 years now on San Joaquin Street. And before, they never had this trouble, but it's the same. You have to park by the Scout House just to go and see my parents, you know, because some people have a number of work trucks, or maybe their vans where they take, you know, people to work and stuff like this. And it makes it impossible for other members of the community to be able to have, you know, their cars out in front of their house, or have visitors that can park, you know, really close by. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention, and hope that maybe you guys can consider, you know, some type of study or looking further into this option, and seeing what we could do about this situation. And I thank you guys.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. This is Richard Valley, if I could be recognized.
You're loud and clear, senor.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Richard Valley, District 2 Supervisor. Just very quickly, I just want to make sure you're aware that tomorrow at 2 p.m., the board is having a special meeting tomorrow For anyone who's interested, Ed Hill, our Kings County Public Health Director, will be giving an update. Last week, the board gave direction for the health director to seek a variance that for the county, between the county and the governor's office, this variance that would hopefully allow us to open up into the second half of phase two, to allow the restaurants for in-house dining. And so the director's been working on that all week. Tomorrow he's expected to give us an update, and we're looking forward to seeing where we're at and getting that submitted to the state, and hopefully to be able to move on. The board feels that, well, the director reported the board on Tuesday morning during our regular meeting that the county meets, most of the criteria that the governor has put out that would allow us to go into the second half of phase two. One of the elements that we're just not meeting right now is the based on the formula that at the end of the day, based on Kings County population, our county would have to go 14 days in a row having less than 15 positive cases reported per day. And with the outbreak at the meatpacking company in Hanford, one, that's just not happening. The other part of that is that the state sent down the testing site that we have at the government complex. And so the bigger the net, the bigger the catch, as our health director says. So we're testing a lot of people, and that's just going to keep our numbers going up. And so that's what we're applying the variance for, to ask the governor to understand that we're hosting their testing facility site. That keeps us from hitting 15 per day, and also to grant the variance based on without that outbreak at the meatpacking company, the county's numbers could be considered generally low. And so anyone can get on tomorrow, just like your meeting. The information is on our agenda at the countyofkings.com. And for the public who's listening, that it's going to be very informative there. The last thing I just want to touch on as far as the census, as was mentioned earlier, the county received money from the state. We even before COVID, we were thinking outside the box, and we were able to get approval to get a contract with Jose Ramirez, your hometown champion. And we already had scheduled in the can a major social media campaign. And so with COVID hitting and the ground campaign of census coming to a screeching halt, that social media campaign has really helped. And the data shows that a couple of weeks ago, when Jose lit it up for 3 days in a row on social media, is when you saw those spikes around Avenal, Lemoore, and Corcoran. And so as I understand, Jose is getting ready to do another round of social media on his Twitter, Instagram, Facebook Lives. And hopefully we'll see another increase there and help Avenal out, and as well as all the county get those numbers up. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Valle, I have a question, please.
Yes, sir.
That variance that you're talking about, what is the possibility of that including like beauty shops and barber shops?
Zero, because that's phase 3. We're trying to get into the second half of phase 2 right now. But the good news is, they're talking days instead of weeks, and weeks instead of months. So the sooner we could safely get to the second half of phase 2, and then the county start lining up for phase 3. And I just want to stress that during these talks, we're not forgetting about the health aspect. It's been all health at the Board of Supervisors, knowing that the economy was going to be in a position to be hurt. So we've been mindful. But now as we start moving, shifting over and looking at the economy, I don't want anyone to think that we're moving forward without health in mind, because those residents and the folks that are compromised, that is, that's always been a priority as well, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions for Supervisor Valle? Okay, thank you for all that info. Oh, there's a question. I don't know if you heard it.
I didn't, Mr. Mayor. I could hear you though.
Okay, Sheila comments or asks, even if in the beauty shop, there's only one client wearing a mask, following guidelines.
I appreciate the question. The county doesn't get to make those rules. Phase 3 is phase 3, and that's for barbers and salons are at, Mr. Mayor. And so, and the variance is only allowed to get through to the second half of phase 2 here. They're not talking phase 3 yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, Humberto? Okay, I believe that is it, Supervisor Valle. Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, anybody else? Humberto? Sure. Just let me know when. Okay, very good. So we close public comment and we move on to item number 9, which is public hearing. Public hearing to consider ordinance to amend Avenal Municipal Code 6-4.08 regarding water services, charges, billings, and delinquencies in the city of Avenal. Dawn, I believe this is yours.
Consideration of the adoption of the changes to Title 6, Chapter 4 of the City of Avenal ordinance and request a first reading of the ordinance in order for the city council to become compliant with the state Bill 998 and Government Code 116900. This is for the water shut-off policy that was signed into law in September 2019, and it requires that all urban and community water systems have a written policy on the discontinuation of the residential services, and it must be translated into 7 different languages. This policy must be posted on the city website and contain a plan for alternative payment schedules, bills, steps, procedures, and a phone number where customers can call to avert discontinuation. There's many changes that would require to our ordinances, and I've provided in my staff memo. It's approximately 3 pages long. What this is that we currently have a water shut-off policy. If after 15 days you're not making payment, then the water will be shut off, and we can no longer do that under this state bill 998. So the following changes are proposed in section 2-4.02 of the ordinance, that we would add statement where no main extension is required, application must be made 24 hours prior to service being turned on except for day prior to the weekend and holiday. Section 6-4.03B includes the addition of including penalties accrued. And section 6-1.04A is the addition of and maintain credit to the satisfaction of the city by a deposit and the payment of all service charges provided for this chapter. There's the addition of subsections 2 through 4, which requires that such deposit will be collected prior to opening of services, and no interest will be paid by on those deposits. A deposit shall be made by every customer, whether owner or renter, and regardless of prior service has been satisfactorily provided for each service under the customer's control or ownership. Section 6-04D changes refunds to return.
Don, I think your mic's off. We're having trouble hearing you.
Okay,
Much better, thank you.
much better. Section 6-4 or 04 subsection D changes refunds to return of deposit, and addition of subsections A through D, and those subsections A through D would remain as written. Section 6-04D subsection B, the refund will be refunded to all accounts after 1 full year with the city, provided the city has not incurred any delinquent shutoffs during the year. The deposit refund for those customers who have completed 1 full year without incurring a delinquent shutoff will automatically be made by deducting it from the customer's account during the next billing cycle. If a customer incurs a delinquent shutoff, a new year starts with the date that that service was restored from the delinquent shutoff. If the delinquent shutoff occurs to a customer who has had their deposit refunded, then in addition to all other water service restoration charges, the customer shall be assessed a new deposit. Section 6-04DC, any deposit unclaimed within 1 year from the date service is discontinued will be retained by the city and may be transferred to the city's general fund. Section 6-4.06, addition of subsections A. Subsection A has no wording changes, and there's addition of subsection B, adjustment of fees. All fees and charges provided for in this chapter or in the water shutoff policy may be established, adjusted, modified, amended, or revoked by resolution of the City Council. Section 6-4.08. This section is the one that is impacted the most, and it has to do with water services, charges, billings, and delinquencies. Section A, payment for water service and bill. Subsection 1, all customers shall be responsible to pay for services provided at the rates in effect upon the presentation of a city utility bill. The water billing period shall be monthly, and the payment date shall be the first of the month following the date of presentation. The city deems water bills delinquent on the first day of the calendar month or next business day following the date of presentation. Delinquent accounts shall be subject to all penalties and discontinuation or disconnection of service as provided in the water shutoff policy. Section 2, water billing periods and delinquency dates shall be established and fixed by City Council resolution, except for discontinued service, which shall be billed as provided for hereafter. Section 3, opening and closing bills. Subsection A, opening and closing bills for less than the normal billing period shall be prorated both as to minimum charges and the quantity blocks. Subsection B, Closing bills may be estimated by the city for the final period as an expedient to permit the customer to pay the closing bill at the time service is discontinued or processed in the normal final billing process as determined by the city manager. Section 4, discontinuance upon vacating premises. Subsection A, customers desiring to discontinue service shall so notify the utility billing department 2 days prior to vacating the premises. Subsection B, unless discontinuance of service is ordered by the customer or the customer's representative, the customer shall be liable for charges whether or not any water is used. Section B, delinquent account penalty charges. Subsection 1, all delinquent accounts shall be handled as provided in the water shut-off policy. Section 2, a customer's water service may be discontinued if a bill is not paid within 60 days after such bill becomes delinquent. The service shall not be discontinued, however, until the amount of the deposit made to establish credit for that service has been fully absorbed. Section 3, a customer's water service may be discontinued if water service furnished at a previous location is not paid for within 60 days after the presentation of a bill. Section C, reconnection charge. A reconnection charge as established in the city's fee schedule will be levied and collected, and said customer's deposit may be increased to the current deposit amount prior to renewing service following a discontinuance for any reason provided for in this chapter. Section D, billing separate meters service. Subsection 1, if a customer received water service at more than one location and the bill for the service at any one location is not paid within 60 days after its presentation, water service at all locations may be turned off. Separate bills will be rendered for each meter service installation unless a combined billing is requested in writing by the customer. Subsection 2, all charges for water services, sewer services, refuse collection services, and any other services rendered by the city may be billed upon the same bill and collected as one item. If all or a part of such bill is not paid, any or all of the services for which the bill is rendered may be discontinued. Section E, water billing delinquent account service resumption upon payment fee.
Can I
Water
jump in real
service.
quick? Sorry, this is Joseph Beery. I'm not trying to interrupt the flow or anything, but it is possible to waive the first reading and adopt by title only. But if the city wants to read it, that's great. I'm here. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. We're almost done with it.
Oh, okay, like I'm just
Thank you.
throwing that out there.
We're almost done, I promise.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, water service will be resumed to a delinquent customer only upon payment in full of the delinquent bill plus penalties accrued. A reasonable final notice penalty fee will be charged by the city as set by City Council resolution. This fee must be paid to the city prior to the resumption of water service. Section F, 2 more sections to go. Any customer who disputes a water bill as provided for in this chapter shall have the right to an administrative review by the city manager of the disputed amount. Said customer shall file the appeal in writing. The customer will be notified in writing of the city manager's decision. If the decision is in favor of the customer's water account shall be adjusted accordingly. If the decision is against against the customer shall be afforded an appeal to the city council within 30 days of the city manager's decision. To appeal, the customer must request the hearing in writing to the city manager within 15 days of the date of the adverse decision by the city manager. Documents used by the city manager shall be submitted to the city council for its review. Any person aggrieved by the decision of the city council following an appeal may obtain review of the administrative decision of the city council by filing a petition for review with with the Kings County Superior Court limited jurisdiction in accordance with the timelines and provisions as set forth in the California Government Code Section 53069.4. G, disputed charges. The provisions of this chapter shall not prohibit the city council from entering into contracts with a business, industry, or governmental agency to supply water, water service, and all things pertaining to the furnishing of water to such agencies at rates different than those provided for in this chapter or as established by resolution of the city council. And our recommended action is to adopt the new water service discontinuation policy by resolution and waive the first reading in order for the city of Avenal to become compliant with SB 998 and Government Code 116900.
Just a correction, that would be ordinance.
Ordinance.
And a resolution will follow at the next meeting, I believe, which will act, this is just the enabling ordinance, and then there'll be a policy that will be part of this, and it will be provided at the next meeting.
Okay.
I might be mistaken, but I believe we have to do a second reading, but we don't have to read it. We can waive the reading and adopt by title only.
He said that there should be a second reading after this, but we can waive that. But for now, we need to, is there any questions on this? No. If not, we need a motion to approve this ordinance 2020 what is the ordinance number, please? 03.
Can we approve it before this, if we have to have a second reading, can we approve it before the second reading?
Mr. Berry?
So it's gonna have to be, we're gonna have to come bring it back for a second. We're going to approve it, this one. We'll do a second reading and then it'll be approved and the ordinance will be in effect at that time once it's approved the second reading.
So all we're doing is we waived, excuse me, the reading's already been made. We're introducing it so we can give it a number, and then we request action on the introduction of this ordinance. And it would come back at the next meeting, which will probably be the first meeting in June, and I'm not sure the date.
Correct. We basically do the second reading, which is the requirement under the current law. But it doesn't have to be read. You can waive the reading and adopt by title only.
So we approve the introduction.
We're just, by
Okay.
motion, we're introducing it. It gives it a number, and it would be brought back to council
For a
at
second
the
reading.
June,
Uh-huh.
whatever the first meeting in June date is. It would be June 11th
Okay,
for a second reading.
very good. Is there a motion to approve the introduction of this ordinance and to be brought back for a second reading?
I still move.
Okay, there's a first, is there a second?
I will second it.
Okay, very good. First and second. Roll call,
Councilman
please.
Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle.
Aye. Okay. So we're set for this ordinance to be brought back for a second reading in June
June 11th.
11th. Thank you. All right. So we move on to old business. Consider extending local emergency declared on March 24th, 2020.
Yes, Mayor, members of council, we're asking that council consider extending this emergency. We're not quite sure how things are going to play out. Things are a little unsure still, even though we are trying to abide by the governor's orders still. So what we are asking the council specifically approve and support the ongoing local emergency resolution, and specifically move that prior to the expiration of the 21st day, the emergency resolution be renewed for an additional 21 days after the conclusion of the 21 days, which this is a total of 42 days. And at that time, it would be brought back to council on or before for consideration to either continue the local emergency or actually terminate the local emergency.
Okay, any questions?
And we would request by motion
Okay,
that action be taken.
okay. If there's no questions, we need a motion to extend the local emergency.
We shall move to extend the local emergency for 21 days.
Plus 20.
21.
Let's do 21, let's do 21.
Plus 21. Is there a second? Okay, there's first and second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle.
Aye. 5-0. Okay, it's
Mr.
been
Mayor?
extended. Yes.
May I ask the attorney a question? Is a point of order, but I think we were supposed to have a public hearing on that. And we never opened and closed a public hearing.
Absolutely correct.
Yes. So, I mean, realistically, it's practice over procedure. So we can open it up if anyone objects. We'll deal with that as it comes. But let's see if there's anyone in the public that wants to speak and whether we received any written testimony or whatnot.
Okay. So we're going back to item number 9, which is the public hearing to consider ordinance to amend Avenal Municipal Code. So we're opening this item for public hearing, public comment. Is there anything in writing in regards to this item? Did we get anything in writing for this item? No. Okay. And from City Hall, nothing came in? No? All right. So we'll just give it a few minutes for anyone who would want to comment on this item.
Mr. Berry, since we had to backtrack, would this require another motion?
I mean, it could be relatively simple. We can just adopt by or waive the first reading and adopt by title only. But I mean, again, I don't think much changes unless someone has something to say or comment that might sway the decision. But if you want to dot your i's and cross your t's, we could always just waive the first reading and adopt by title only and take a vote, which I can't imagine would differ from last time.
All right, so we'll just do so. We'll go through the same motion and once we close the public hearing. Okay, anybody in there, Mr. Humberto? Okay. Okay, so we're closing public hearing. So we'll just go through the same process of.
Is there any council
approving.
discussion?
Okay. Discussion, yeah. Questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. So we need a motion to approve the introduction of this ordinance 2020-03 and be brought back for reading and approval during the meeting of June 11th.
I so move again.
Okay, we have first. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Very good. First and second. Roll call,
Councilman
please.
Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle.
Aye. 5-0. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so we move on to item number 11, new business. A, consider Avenal Police Department approval for new patrol vehicle purchase and outfitting. Chief LeBlue, I think.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. I'm here tonight speaking to you regarding a purchase of 2 new vehicles. The first vehicle would be a marked unit, and when we outfitted our K9 car, we lost a unit from our fleet. The K9 car is obviously dedicated to the dog, and that car remains with the K9 handler and the dog, so it goes home with them every night. So we lost a unit out of our fleet, and we would like to purchase a unit to replace that loss. The second vehicle we would like to replace is our community response team vehicle. Our current community response team vehicle is almost 20 years old. So what we're proposing is we would buy a new unit to replace the one in the fleet, and then my current unit would go to the school resource officer, and the school resource officer car would go to our community response team. I did receive several quotes from Visalia Ford, from Keller Motors, and then also Wondery's Fleet Group in Los Angeles, who generally has the best prices. However, during this bidding process, Visalia Ford beat out the others by a relatively significant amount. As you can see, the cost of a patrol unit has increased significantly since the last time I was before you to purchase a vehicle. A patrol unit is $36,769.61, and that was the cheapest quote. For the replacement vehicle, admin replacement vehicle, we are purchasing just an off-the-lot vehicle instead of a patrol unit, and by doing that, we can save, approximately $3,000 to $4,000 by doing that. So the second vehicle is an admin vehicle. In the past, we have utilized Cook's Communication to do all of our installations, and in 2017, City Council approved them as our sole source vendor. So the quotes for the outfitting would be $13,322.82 for the marked unit and $91,5903 for the admin unit. The funds for this purchase would be taken out of the Supplemental Law Enforcement Services account. And I know we have a couple of new members on the council since we've probably spoken about that, but the Supplemental Law Enforcement Services account is a grant that we receive each year, and that is for frontline law enforcement needs that we have to expend that on. And we have to expend that by June 30th of each year, and what we don't expend has to be returned. So the total amount for both cars and outfitting would be $92,900.
We lost you, Chief.
He muted himself.
Oh.
I'll text him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I'm just seeing the chief instead of you guys. Okay. So I don't know where I left off, but did I make it clear on the Supplemental Law Enforcement Services account? Okay.
The total cost of the 2 units is?
Yeah, the total cost of the 2 units is $92,906.44 with tax and fees, and I'm asking that the council approve so we could purchase those vehicles. And again, there's no impact to the city budget because it is through the grant, and again, we have to expend those funds by June 30th or return them. Any questions I can answer?
Any questions to Assistant Chief? Okay. If not, it is by motion that we need to approve this purchase.
I make a motion to approve this purchase.
Okay. We have,
I'll second it.
okay, we have first and second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hernandez,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Preciado,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Woolley,
Aye.
Mayor Ovalle,
Aye. 5-0. It's been approved, Chief.
Thank you very much. Everyone have a nice evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. So we move on to item number 12, which is correspondence and announcements and closing comments. Any correspondence?
Not at this time.
Okay, very good. Closing comments, Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, we had our monthly food distribution. We served 200 families. It was all due to the good work of the city personnel, which included public works, code enforcement, the theater, and recreation. They did a great job. Also, the police department was out there, they patrolling. I also want to thank them too. Also, I want to congratulate all the people that work in graduate, starting from kindergarten, Head Start, all the way to the colleges. I know you guys can have the protocols like that we normally have, proms, parties, but I encourage everyone to don't let that goal that you have die. Even whatever comes, we are a strong city, we are a strong state, and we are a strong nation. Nothing can stop us. There's hurdles, and nothing can stop us. It's just a matter of time. Also, I want to ask our council if we can have a study session on ways that here in town we can mitigate the COVID-19 epidemic. That's it.
All right, thank you, Senor. Mr. Ramirez, closing comments.
Yes, I would just like to, encourage the public that are on this meeting to continue to stay safe. There are some reports that some residents in Avenal are not following a certain CDC guidelines, which is social distancing, wearing your face mask when you're going to the stores, and things like that. These are things that are very essential and very important in order to stay safe. I just want to encourage the whole community to please follow these guidelines, in order to reduce this pandemic in our community. And I hope everybody stays safe.
Thanks, Senor. Mr. Preciado.
Yes, I would like to thank the people who are involved in the food distribution. Right now, there's a lot of need out there, but also want to thank city staff and everybody who's getting involved, providing volunteer work to help them supply the food to people in our community. And I also would like to request that we will have a study session regarding COVID-19, and not only involve masks and gloves and ways to stay safe, but also see if we can see how we can help the community like other cities are doing, find ways to help them. I don't know, to talk about something that we can help regarding help them with, I don't know, maybe help pay for water bill for people who cannot afford it at this time. I think we need to look into how we can help our community, how we can provide services that are needed right now. And we're still having meetings at the county level and state level, and I think everybody is doing a great job trying to protect each other, but we still need to do some more. And I would like to see if staff can provide us time and day so we can meet the sooner the better. Thank you.
Mrs. Woolley, closing comments.
I too want to thank everyone in the community. One thing I have noticed through all of the challenges we've been facing is people seem to be nicer to each other. I don't know, it's really interesting because people seem to be paying more attention to each other as we go about our daily lives. And I'm really proud of the city because our numbers are really low. I check them every day. And it's only by everyone working together that they are staying that way. So like everyone else said, follow the guidelines and be safe.
City Manager, closing comments?
I have a couple. I wanted to, and I know Fernando provided information, but if you haven't been out to the community center, and that would be council staff and the community, please go out and look at the facility. It's really coming along, and I'm very, very pleased and very proud of staff that's been involved. Fernando, thank you. To Public Works and also to our building department and everyone else that's involved. What a great resource it's going to be. Excited about the solar project at the wastewater plant, which will actually support and pay for the power needed to continue running the plant. And hopefully, if it starts within the next few weeks, it's, I believe, 6 months, and it hopefully will be online by then. So looking forward to that. I'd like to thank Dawn for actually working on the city finance and sitting down and hope, making sure that we can make it through the end of this year, and we can only anticipate what will happen next year. But I thank you for putting up with me. Just want to make sure that we are fiscally sound, and I have to thank council and previous councils for the great job they have done in making or providing the resources that we need, so we have reserves in times when are a bit challenging financially. So I want to thank everyone for that. We ordered and we have received 10,000 masks. It will be up to council. I think there are a few ideas kind of roaming around as to how they will be distributed. But again, I want to thank Dawn. She actually was able to contact Korea, I believe. And so they are at City Hall. And thank you for bringing that up to Councilman. I want to thank Anthony, Lupi, Anna, Umberto. Thank you for actually going around to all the businesses and talking to them and relaying the message from the council and from the city about staying safe, to take steps to encourage and recommend that the businesses require that masks be worn. And I know that's kind of a, everyone has an opinion on what can be done, but I think it's up to us to all work together so our community, we keep the numbers low and our community as safe as possible. So I want to thank you for doing that and also posting the signs. Thank you for that. I want to also commend the business owners. They've done actually a really good job. Some have been so patient. I know it's been difficult financially for some, but it looks just about all of our businesses have opened. No dine-in restaurants at this time. And unfortunately, the beauty industry, beauty shops and barbershops are not allowed to open at this time because of the governor's order. But hopefully that will be sooner than later as long as we follow the guidelines. One last item, and it was a very pleasant surprise for those of you that remember our very first city manager, Homer Bludow. He actually spoke to him last Saturday. He had called and left a message. He just called to see how Avenal was doing. We were his very first city. He actually retired from as city manager of Newport Beach, and he and his wife still live there. So I thought that was a very, very nice gesture, and that he cared enough to give us a call and see how we were doing. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. And I'd just like to thank the Veronica for her comments and contributions, as well as Supervisor Valle, for that information. And Sheila and Ana for being innovative. Difficult times brings that about people, that we need to be a little bit innovative and kinder to each other. Because these difficult times really wear on each and every one of us. So be kind to each other and just, follow the simple guidelines given. And that will protect you, protect your loved ones, and everyone around you. So it's just a recommendation. It's not a command. So please do so. And meeting adjourned.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. You all have a good night.
Good night.
So this is. Okay.
Las mascarillas que llegaron, la idea es de repartirlas, parte de ellas a los negocios, para